Hello, welcome to our assembly for today. It's Wednesday. I'm sure I've seen most of you by now. I hope I've seen everybody. I hope you've all had a really, really lovely half term and that you have done lots of really cool stuff. You've got outside in the fresh air, and even though it was raining, it didn't really matter too much. What I want to talk about in assembly today is this time of year. Now, before half term, we talked about autumn, we talked about harvest, but there was a very special day that's happened quite recently that only happens at this time of year. I wonder if you can tell your partner what that day is. Now, it'd be interesting to see what the answers are actually, because I reckon a lot of people will have said Halloween. Okay. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about in assembly today. But there's another part of it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am going to show you some global goals, and then we're going to have a think about Halloween, and we're going to think about which of the global goals are actually the relevant ones. So sometimes I tell you which global goals we're thinking about today, and other times I ask you to guess. Okay, so what I'm going to do is remind you, these are all of our global goals. We've got reduced inequalities and partnerships and life below water and climate action and no poverty, all 17 goals, right? We're going to be thinking about Halloween. So talk to your partner now, talk as a class, and decide what you think the relevant global goals are if we're thinking about Halloween. Okay, have a think, stop the video while I have a slurp of coffee. Okay. Well, let's see. So when we think about Halloween, Halloween is always on the 31st of October. Okay, but what actually is Halloween? Okay, and we're going to think about, I know people dress up as scary stuff, and there's pumpkins outside houses, and you might go trick-or-treating if it's safe to do so. But where's it all come from? Where has all of this happened? Well, that is Halloween. Now, there's a bit of punctuation in the word Halloween. Okay, what's that bit of punctuation? That's right, it's an apostrophe. An apostrophe is for when there is something missed out. And the actual, where the word Halloween has come from, it is All Hallows Eve. Okay, so let's see if we can take that apart a bit. All Hallows Eve. What does the Eve bit mean? Okay, and you might, if you want an example, you might think of Christmas Eve and then Christmas Day. That's right. So it's the day before. The eve of, or the evening of, is the day before. So let's have a look. All Hallows or All Saints Day. Okay, the 1st of November is All Hallows or All Saints Day. So we've got that word hallows. Okay. Now, if you go to church, if you pray on a regular basis, you might hear where it says in the Lord's Prayer, hallowed be thy name. So the Lord's Prayer goes, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. And what that actually means is holy, holy be thy name. So we're saying in the Lord's Prayer, Christians are saying, your name is holy. Okay. So how does that work? Holy, all holy day? That doesn't quite work. So we've got All Hallows or All Saints Day. It's the day when the church remembers everyone who is holy. Now, Christians believe that the saints were these really cool, holy people who did wonderful stuff, who lived their life for God, and they showed other people how to live their lives. By following Jesus' teachings, they showed other people how to live their lives. So I'm going to give you a couple of bits of information, and we've got examples of different saints. Okay, so St. Mary was just an ordinary Jewish girl, but God had chosen her for a very special job. Now, you might know this part of the story from the Bible. One day, an angel came to see Mary, and the angel said she'd have a baby. He would be God's son. God would do great things through the baby. And Mary was scared. She knew she had a baby when she wasn't married. People in those days would be very unkind to her, but she said yes, because God's asked her to do it. And when Jesus was born, Mary held all the special things that were said about him in her heart. She was there when he performed his first miracle, and when she saw him being crucified. She'd known all along how special he was, and it must have broken her heart to see him treated so cruelly, but she was always obedient to God. She's a holy person, and she did all of these things because God asked her to do it. So that is why she is used as an example to other people to follow a Christian teaching. Saint Stephen was the church's first martyr. A martyr is someone who would rather die than say they don't believe in God. And that was exactly what brave Saint Stephen had to do. After Jesus had died and come back to life, Saint Stephen kept teaching people about him. And Stephen said that Jesus was the saviour that everyone had been waiting for, and they were wrong to kill him. Some of the Jewish leaders were so angry they ordered Stephen to be killed. A crowd of people threw stones at him until he died. And he was very brave, still worshipping God as he died. He prayed for God to forgive those who'd been so cruel to him. So he still said to God, I love you. He kept his faith. He kept what he believed in. And if he'd said, no, I don't believe in God, when actually in his heart he did, he would be telling a lie. And basically was saying, this person said, we don't tell lies. We are true to what we believe in. So we've got these messages. Mary loved Jesus and she believed in him. Stephen loved God and would not tell a lie about him. St. Augustine was sent to England by Pope Gregory to teach the English people about Jesus. And Augustine was frightened about coming to a strange country, but at last he agreed to do it. When he and his friends arrived in England, they found it wasn't actually that bad. King Ethelbert welcomed them, gave them somewhere to live, and St. Augustine travelled around the country teaching people about Jesus. And the king was so impressed that he wanted to be Christian, and St. Augustine baptised him. And lots of other English people were baptised too. They built a cathedral at Canterbury, and that's where the English church started to grow. And Augustine was the first Archbishop of Canterbury, which meant that he was the priest in charge of all the other priests in the country. So basically, we've got somebody else who said that they love God and they're going to tell other people about it. And if you love something, you can share that. You can share that. So you can tell how much your teachers love different subjects because they get so enthusiastic and they're so excited about teaching them. They love doing it. Okay, so really listen to those people who are working so hard to share the things that they're passionate about with you. Now, these people are a great example for us to follow, but the Bible describes all Christian people as saints, and All Saints' Day or All Hallows is when we remember all the faithful Christian people who we know and people who we don't know, who set a good example for us to follow. So we've got Mary, who loved Jesus, and no matter what happened, she was always there. She stuck by people in her family. Okay? Now, regardless of whether or not you are a Christian, because we welcome everybody at Wincham, it doesn't matter what your religion is, because we can actually say that, yes, Mary stuck by somebody in her family. We can all agree that's a good thing to do. And we've got St. Stephen. Yes, if you're a Christian, we take the message that he believed in God. He would not renounce God. But also, Stephen would not tell lies. He would not say to people something that wasn't true about God. So again, everybody's welcome at Wincham, and we can say to people that we don't tell lies. And St. Augustine wanted to share that message about Jesus, but he was frightened about coming to a strange country. But he was brave and he did it. So if you're a Christian, you might want to share the message about God. But if you're not a Christian, you might just want to share the message that you're really enthusiastic about something and that you want to share that passion, that love of things. Okay? Or it might be that you want to help other people in the way that St. Augustine helped other people. And particularly, he was brave. And we've all had times in our lives when we've needed to be brave and say, right, I'm going to do this. So those people have been real inspirations to us. Okay? And that's what's important about All Saints' Day, which is the 1st of November. So never mind pumpkins or witches or ghosts or whatever. Let's take this one forward, with All Saints Day, because we've got these people who are in our lives, whether they're people from the Bible or we've got people in our lives now who are inspirations to us, who we can copy and say, yeah, I want to be a bit more like this person. And you might know people in school. You might know people who you think about each day. It might be an adult, and you can say, I want to be a bit more like Mrs. Bates when I'm older. I want to be a bit more like Mr. Garner when I'm older. Or you might be in somebody's lesson and say, do you know what? They are so keen to teach me reading. I love reading. I'm going to take this away. I'm going to take this away, and I'm going to love reading as well, because Mrs. Miller's got so excited about this book. Right. So the Bible teaches us to think carefully about everything that we do. And there's a line in the Bible that says, test everything, hold on to the good, and avoid every kind of evil. So we can think about evil like something that is really bad, but actually we can think about good things and bad things. So the Bible uses very strong words like evil. But if we take what we heard with Mary and Stephen and St. Augustine, Mary showed love to the family members. So the opposite of showing love is not being loving, and that will be a bad thing. So that's avoiding every kind of evil. St. Stephen wouldn't tell lies. So that's being truthful is the good thing, and telling lies is the bad thing, that kind of evil or bad thing to do. And St. Augustine was scared to begin with. That's what the Bible is describing as being as evil. It's a bad thing. It's not evil as we know it. It's evil as the Bible was written 2,000 years ago. But St. Augustine was afraid, and he said, I'm not going to be afraid. I'm going to hold on to the good, and I'm going to go and do it anyway. So that's what that means. The Bible says every kind of evil, but actually it's talking about the things that we know aren't the right things to do and doing the things that we know are right. So close your eyes for a minute and have a think about somebody that you know who is a role model for you. It might be a character from the Bible. It might be somebody in one of the biblical stories that you know. Might be from a story from another religion. Or it might be somebody you know. Could be somebody in your family, could be somebody at school, could be somebody at Scouts or Cubs or Brownies or whatever you do. And think about what they do that is good and how you are going to be better because of the things that they've shown you. Okay, open your eyes. Have a really good rest of the day. Think about how you're going to make your day better by being like someone else, and how we can take each day and be a little bit better. Have a lovely, lovely rest of the day, guys. I will see you soon. Bye-bye.